You're listening to the Manifest Your Greatness podcast, and this is episode number 77. Do you have a goal that you'd love to accomplish, but just don't know where to start? Or maybe you've gotten off to a great start, but just can't seem to get out of first gear? I'm Curtis J. Washington, founder of the Manifest Your Greatness coaching program, and I've helped people from all walks of life manifest the greatness that they already possess deep inside. If you are committed to taking the steps required to become the best version of yourself, you've come to the right place. This is the Manifest Your Greatness podcast. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this episode of the Manifest Your Greatness podcast, where we explore practical and actionable steps to help you manifest the greatness that you already possess deep inside. And today we have a special guest. His name is Steve Eurioste, and he is an author and a gifted illustrator who wrote and illustrated the book Curiosity and Encouragement Change the World. This is the first book in his brand new PET series, which stands for Passionate Epic Tales. He wrote this book in his darkest time in his life. He lost his father in 2020. He lost his mother in 2021, and he lost his marriage in 2022. And while he was homeless and living in his car, the words for his book, Curiosity and Encouragement, flowed out of his fingers. And now in his book, Curiosity and Encouragement try to change the world, but they ultimately end up saving his. And Stephen hopes that when you read this book, that it can help you along your journey and to realize that every end opens up a new beginning, and that new beginning should always be to dream big. Stephen, thank you so much for joining the podcast today. I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining.
You're welcome, Curtis. Thank you for having me. I appreciated that introduction there. That was that got me a little choked up here. Living through this journey has been it's been hard at times, and looking back at where I am now to where I was just not even that long ago, it makes me feel like I've actually done something. It makes me feel, you said manifest, and that's exactly what I've been doing at my lowest time, is just trying to manifest and trying to become better than what I was before. And the journey itself has been absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And with all that you have been through and all that you had to face and all the challenges that were making it so difficult to, I mean, first of all, figure out, where to go from all of these. I mean, one after another, these tragedies are happening. I know you actually mentioned you were a stand-up comedian at one time as well. And it's just, I mean, was there any relation in terms of timing to any of this, or are they unrelated and one happened way before the other? I was just curious how that came about and where it kind of fit in all of this.
So growing up, I got into stand-up comedy. I loved
Okay.
watching it on HBO. My favorite all-time stand-up comedian is George Carlin.
Yes.
And I would listen to George Carlin and I would hear his words and I would just go, I can do that.
Yeah.
So on my 18th birthday, I signed up to be a stand-up comedian at the Comedy Works. And they had to call me back and get permission and everything. But I went on stage for the first time. And I bombed. I bombed so hard. It was I was like, maybe this isn't for me.
Uh,
I was wearing a purple suit, and I I think that I just didn't come across to the crowd like, why is this guy in this purple suit? Maybe he's the Joker or something like that. And then I start talking about things that are People are like, what is going on? And then I think I got one laugh midway through my set, and it was only a 3 minute set to start.
Oh,
And I was like, I got off that stage and I was like, wow, okay. Um,
yeah.
so I started trying new things and writing new material and going, okay, I'm not going to wear a suit on stage. I'm gonna dress up like how everybody else coming to the club is dressed up as. So t-shirts and some pants.
Yeah.
And then I changed it into Superman t-shirts, and I found a Superman leather jacket, and I evolved my set. And for 8 years, I was going around Colorado and doing stand-up comedy in all these different places and gaining a following. And then I fell in love.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And when you fall in love, and stand-up comedy is a nighttime routine in bars and clubs, you
Yeah.
can't really stay in
Yeah.
love with somebody because it's
Yeah.
just not the right place. But
Yeah.
that was my stand-up comedic career.
Yeah.
I've often thought about going back to it. It was fun times.
Yeah. Yeah. So after that, then so there was a period after your stand-up comedy, before all of the things, the events that led up to Curiosity and Encouragement. So were you working in corporate America before this happened, or what kind
Yeah,
of work were you doing?
sales.
Okay, okay,
So I was married. Um, we started having kids, and yeah, absolutely. 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, weekends off, mow the lawn, you
yeah,
know, typical America work.
yeah, yeah,
It
but
was
yeah,
it was life as I knew it for
yeah,
19 years.
yeah. And
And
coming from that creative, that background, right, where you were creating material, and then of course on the other side of this we have curiosity and encouragement. So you've always had this inside of you, this creative side that came out, and then you kind of had to ball it up a little bit and kind of do the do, and but you kept it. You kind of did you find yourself keeping it alive in other ways, or did you suppress it completely? I was just curious, how did that go between those two, that creativity sandwich that ended up being kind of the way things worked out.
um, I always drew. I
Okay.
always drew pictures. My If I were ever somewhere and there was nothing else to do, I'd pull out a piece of paper and pencil and just start drawing. And
Right.
I've always been a nerd, so it was always like Superman. It was always the Ninja Turtles. It was always
Yeah.
Pokemon that I was drawing, and I just did it for fun.
Yeah.
Um, I've I've never written a book before.
Right.
I've drawn comic books. I've drawn other books for people, but I've never written my own book.
Right.
That came in January of this year, and at a pretty bad time. I don't know where it came from. I don't know why it came, and I don't know. I'll tell you the story about it. I was living in my car in January in Colorado, so the snow was
Yeah.
just horrible this year.
Yeah.
I found a place in a parking garage that I can pull the car into and get some, relatively decent sleep. Um, I'm in a huge depression at this moment in time, and I really want to just end it all. So I tried some things to just end it all. I woke up and I swear I heard a voice that said, "Not yet." To this day, I'll tell you it was my mom. My publisher will tell you it was God. And I just had this thought and I wrote it out. And I wrote it out in 25 minutes. And I looked at it and I was like, there's something here. I don't know what this is, but there's something here. So I reached out to some publishers, and sure enough, I got hits right away. Yes, we love this book. We want to publish it for you, and it'll cost you $5,000.
Yeah.
And I went, I'm homeless. I'm living in my car right now. I don't exactly have $5,000. So let's try again. Found another publisher. Yeah, we'll do it. We love your book. We'll do it for 1,000. I'm like, I don't have the money.
Mm,
So I go on Facebook and I start looking into self-publishing groups to figure out how to self-publish. And not knowing anything about that arena, it was like coming across like, what is this? This is understand. Just I don't understand any of it.
yeah.
And my publisher reached out to me, and she said, "Tell me your story." And we talked on Facebook Messenger, and she called me, and we started crying. And I sent her over my manuscript, and she started crying some more and said, "This reminds me of my friend and my relationship." Um, and she said, "I want to publish you." And I said, I don't have the money to be published right now. She said, "Don't worry about it. You do some things for me, and I'll publish you." And ever since that day, her and I have been friends. We've talked every single day,
Yeah.
and she has brought me back towards the light of God. She's helped show me where I've allowed others to manipulate me, where she's helped me grow. She's helped me get the help that I need. And
Mm,
we worked through everything. And all this time, there's a uh, golf course here in Colorado called Noonan's, and they have this bar slash restaurant. And I was there every single day, working, drawing, formatting, learning.
mm.
And I never drank any alcohol. I never did any of that. I just was there and I just did it every single day. And I manifested that first book.
Yeah.
And the second book, whew, that's a different story.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's really it's amazing that I mean, well, two things. First of all, I guess with the you knew you had something, and publishers knew you had something, but of course, there's not many people out there that are willing to really not only trust in the work, but to see that it's worth putting their their own trust into as well, without trying to just get something out of it right away. It's like, you have these relationships, and with people who really understand what you're about. They can see that it's so much bigger than this monetary exchange or this project. It's a relationship. It's potentially so many other beautiful things. And not only that, but understanding kind of where you're coming from. It's not like you are, you know, you don't want to spend the money. It's not like you're like, oh, that's too expensive. I mean, this is
Right,
you're living in a car, and you're working out of a car, and
right.
you have this great idea, and it's just it's wonderful that you were able to connect with someone who was able to really see that, and to not only understand the beauty in what you're doing, but understand the beauty in how you're doing it. That says a lot to who you are right there, and the importance of the project to you. And here you are trying to keep warm at night, but you've got this thing that is keeping you up, and it's keeping you you've got something, and people are interested in it, and you're pushing to see it through. um, and it's I think one of the things that I love, I love how your story is starting here with these books, and it reminds me of a lot of people talk about a self-made person and all of this. It's like, oh yeah, it's he's a self-made man, she's a self-made man. I was watching a documentary about Arnold Schwarzenegger the other day, and he mentioned in his documentary, says, you can call me whatever you want, you can call me names, but never call me a self-made man. I had ideas, but it always takes people to help make your ideas into a reality. So he was surrounded by people who understood what he had as a gift and helped him develop and got it in front of people. And it's great that that model has done such a wonderful thing for so many people. And it's great to hear that you were able to find this person. And And now you're working together still, right? You have all of these other potential future projects, and I know you're also helping her as well. So it's just turned out to be, it sounds like a beautiful relationship, which is just so great to hear.
Yeah, we during all this time, like I said, I didn't know anything about book publishing or
Yeah,
what to do on anything. And as a publisher, you have to self promote.
right,
If you want your book to be out there and you want your book to be known, you have to be the one that's putting in that time, that effort, that um, ingenuity on things. So I read a lot. I had the time to do it. I mean, you're in the car, you just pull up articles, you can watch videos and how to promote, just type in how do you promote your book.
yeah, yeah,
And I started reading about them. So I developed my own marketing program and figured out what are the top 10 things a new publisher needs or a new author needs to promote their book. And I not only created that, but I worked with Susan to say, we need to change it up a bit. Our publishing can't be like these big time guys who want $5,000. We have people out there in the world that have all of this imagination, and we need to bring it out. So we're doing all this for very inexpensive, and we're doing it as a passion project, and we're doing it as your story needs to be heard, and we want to work with you in that, and we want to give you what the big guys out there are giving you, and we want to do it at a price that you're comfortable with. And that's been our mission since.
right.
And yeah, we've had a few people come over and really want to work with us in it.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic to hear. So, speaking of publications, now we've talked about your first book, Curiosity and Encouragement, Change the World. Now, what we haven't talked about, everybody knows what curiosity means and what encouragement means. We know that, that's the name of the book, but who are curiosity and encouragement?
So Curiosity is unlike any other cat. He doesn't like to do all the cat things. He doesn't like to play with balls or bells or anything like that. He wants to change the world, and he doesn't know how to change the world. He knows he wants to change the world. So he has all these like imaginative ideas. Like one of the pages shows him like Indiana Jones, where he's got the little cap on and he's finding a golden cat idol. But that doesn't, it doesn't make him happy. He doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to go to the moon. He doesn't want to do any of that. He just wants to change the world. He doesn't know how to do that. Encouragement is encouragement. She comes along, she meets him, she's excited by him, and she encourages him. She shows him that he's special and that he's unique, and she gets behind everything he says and helps him out. She really pushes him to get to change the world. And as time goes by, he all of a sudden realizes that um, he knows his idea to change the world, and he calls it love. And she laughs at him because we already have love. And he's like, love changes the world. And the last page says that love can change the world, even if it's just your world and the person that you love and loves you back.
Right,
But love will change the world.
right. Right, right. Yeah. And I mean, it's absolutely beautifully illustrated, and it's one of those books that I would recall as a child reading over and over and over again. Like there's some very simple books. Like for example, there's a book called Aloha Is. I live in Hawaii.
Yeah.
It's a very famous book, and you may have heard of it too. And it's a very simple book, but it just talks about the meaning of aloha. And it's like and it's got very, of course, just warm and engaging illustrations. And your book is, oh my goodness, it's really, really engaging. And it has such a playful and soft. Of course, they're cats too, which helps, but I
Right.
mean, it really does. The illustrations and the message. It's kind of like for me, I definitely see it as a book that my kids would be reading. My kids are a little older now, but when they were younger, I could have seen that book alongside Aloha Is. It's one of those books that they would just read over and over again because it's simple, but it's the simplicity of it that is so engaging. And it's almost one of those things that you can get lost in the book by looking at the images, and you can read the book different ways so many times because there's so much going on. But to really kind of feel it and to, I think, really start to pick up on what it really means to the reader, that's kind of like a journey, right? You kind of keep going through it, and it's like, okay, yeah, now I'm starting to kind of feel how I can relate, what I'm doing, what I'm looking for, how I see things. And I think it's just such a beautifully written and beautifully illustrated book. And I'd like to actually share the cover of that
Yes,
book as well, just so people get an idea. So if you are watching the podcast here, I'm actually going to see if I can share the video here, or share the image here. Let's see here. Actually, where did it go? There it is. Okay, so I'm going to share that. And so this is the cover. And first of all, how can you not look at this and smile? I mean, it's beautiful. It's just a very it's very touching, and it's very warm. And the illustrations, of course, throughout the book are like this. The story, as I said, is one that I'm sure that many people, especially young people, would want to read over and over and over again because it's so engaging. And the book, you have a dedication in the book, and I would like to kind of talk about that, if that's okay.
absolutely.
So on your dedication page, you have, I'd like to dedicate my book to the hopeful dreamers, to the ones who make the world a better place, to my oldest daughter, Callie, who is my biggest supporter and always has time to give her opinions, to my children, who will always be my inspiration, and to Susan, who taught me to believe in miracles. And so, can you share a little bit of background and how you came up with with the dedication and what they mean to you on a little bit more of an intimate level? That's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I've always been a hopeful dreamer. Uh, I've never really had the patience to look at reality in anything other than what I think it should be. Um, I've never been cynical. I've always been optimistic. I've always been, we can do better. We can do better as a people. We can do better as a country. We can do better as everything.
Mm,
And we have to take our dreams and stop letting them die because of, whatever reasons. So if you're a hopeful dreamer out there, do not let those dreams die. You can go towards it. You can do what you need to do and make that dream become a reality. Even at your worst times, you can still become that. Um, People who are always trying to make the world a better place, always talking, always happy, always sharing positivity. Those are the people I love to be around. And that's how we change, just one bit at a time. We just realize that we're all humans. We're all trying to figure it out. And not everybody's journey is the same. So be kind and be patient and give a smile. Always give a smile.
yeah.
My oldest daughter, Callie, she in January, another thing happened. She ended up having a stroke, and she was in the hospital for 7 weeks. And this was all at the time where I was in my darkest place as well.
Mm,
And one of the things that I always did was I was talking to her while she was in the hospital and told her, here's my book. Here's the first page. Here's the second page. Oh, that's cute, Dad, or you need to change this, or why does it look like that? Or I don't know if I really see this that way. And I change it up. Oh yeah, that looks better. That looks better. Oh, that's so cute. And why did you choose purple? And oh, he looks like Milo. And you know what I mean? So these were the conversations we had while she was in the hospital and I was living in the car. And um it it helped me, and I think it helped her get through that stressful time as well.
Mm,
And then of course Susan's my publisher. She owns Soul Sunshine, and I didn't believe in miracles before her. I
mm,
believed in positivity. I believed in energy. I believed in, we make the world a better place by what we put into it. But she made me believe in miracles. And I, I don't know what transpired to have her be on Facebook at that particular moment in time, and
right.
to her to see my post and for her to say, I need to talk to this guy. And when we talk about it now together, it's like, why did that ever happen? Why did you feel the need to reach out to me?
Yeah. Yeah.
And she said she didn't know. She just said that God wanted her to talk to me. And I went, well, thank God.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And my life has completely changed around. It, in fact, last Thursday, I moved into my own place. So that's where I am right now. I'm no longer homeless as of last Thursday. And I have my computer, and I have internet, and I have food, and I have this, and it's been a journey. It's been a wild ride, man. And I love where I am now and what took me to get here.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, well, thank you very much for sharing that. And now the journey continues, right? Now
Absolutely.
with Susan and with your involvement in Soul Sunshine, and your next book that's coming out as well. And you had mentioned earlier that this one came from a different place, right? Like there was a very different impetus for this book, and would you mind sharing what that was?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so I went live on TikTok, um, and I was drawing pictures for book one. And let's take one step back first. The first name of my book, Curiosity and Encouragement Changed the World, was actually called The Passionate and Epic Tales of Curiosity and Encouragement. And that was the first thing Susan changed. She was like, we cannot call it that.
Yeah.
And I was like, why not? It's such a cool name. And she said, because it's a kid's book and kids aren't going to be able to understand that. And I said, okay, well, I'm thinking about writing more for this series. How about we call it Pet Series? So that's where we came up with Passion Epic Tales for Pet Series.
Yeah.
So I'm live on TikTok and I'm drawing pictures and I'm getting people coming into my lives, and I'm telling them about what's going on, and they see that I'm in the car, and I'm just being open and honest with everybody on TikTok. And this kid comes onto my stream and says, um, I get anxiety, and
Mm,
I can't go to my parents and let them know that I get anxiety.
yeah.
And I paused. I stopped for a second and I looked at the screen and I went, first and foremost, your parents love you.
Yeah.
You can go to them with anything that you need. And don't ever be afraid of that. I know you have anxiety. I know that's a difficult thing to come, but there are people who can help you. And don't ever be afraid to look for help.
Mm.
And when I stopped that stream, the second book came to me. And I wrote that in 22 minutes. And
Wow.
it just flowed out. And it's all about um, curiosity overcoming his anxiety and his fear, and how encouragement is there to help him overcome that and to let him know it's okay to have anxiety. It's okay to have fear, but you have to have somebody there who's going to encourage you to not let that anxiety and fear overcome.
Mm.
So that's where that one came from. And I loved it so much that I sent it over to Susan, and she's like, "Yes, once we get through with one, we're gonna do two." And then I had an idea of having a trilogy out before Christmas so we can have a box set of 3 books. So once again, I went on YouTube and started going live and still drawing book one. And this guy comes on and he says, "My son's being bullied at school."
Man.
And I went, "Yeah, unfortunately, I know exactly what you're going through in that because my son was bullied at school." And I kind of told him some of the things that we can do and some of the things he can do and some of the things he can talk to his son about. And don't ever make him feel horrible about being bullied, and show him that you love him, and do everything you can to make him feel safe. And then I wrote book three. I got off that stream and I wrote book three, and
Wow.
we're going to introduce a third character in book three. So I look forward to sharing that soon.
Yeah. You know, what's beautiful about everything that you just mentioned in the series itself, how it's coming together, is you talk about and you mentioned, that how the first book, Curiosity and Encouragement Changed the World, how the book was about them changing the world, but it actually helped save yours. And what is discovered in that book is how powerful love is. And what you've just stated is that it is so powerful that it's the connection for all of everything that you're doing. So you are it's almost as if like you were saying in how that book saved your world. It's you're the one that's now on this journey and full of love, and you've overcome, you've come out of this dark place, and now you're helping others. And I mean, it's so beautiful in that it's these connections that you're making, and everyone has a story, but it's you who are, with the love that you have, that are actually listening and hearing and making something out of that that can help others, and sharing a story in a way that can help others really understand, how to overcome some of these fears and these challenges and anxiety, all these things. So I think it's so beautiful, and I also think it's very, uh, it's case in point to what you're saying. It's like, the book, has saved you, has saved your world, and love is what's discovered in the first book, and how that saved your world, and how it's weaving into everything that you're doing, and it's so beautifully obvious. So yeah, it's so great to hear that. That's just beautiful.
Thank you. Um, during the during the process of it, I came up with a phrase. Um, every forest fire, as destructive as it is so powerful. But it all started from a single spark.
Right.
The spark became a flame. The flame became a fire. The fire became a forest fire. And after every time there's a forest fire, when you look, when it's all done, the life then begins again. And you start seeing the seedlings pop up, and you start seeing new growth and new life. And that's what curiosity and encouragement was for me. It was a spark,
Yeah.
and that spark turned into a flame.
Yeah.
That's that's how I feel about it personally.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So, and now the plan is a trilogy before Christmas. That's the
Correct.
plan currently?
Correct.
And so your first book is out, and the second book, so that book is entitled Curiosity and Encouragement Overcome Fear, correct?
Correct. Correct.
And when is that book going to become available?
Um, I'm hoping for next week.
Oh, wow.
We got everything. We're working on the formatting right now, and we just finished the cover. We
Yes.
we went through our designs and we decided on what we wanted the cover to look like, and we knew with overcoming fear, we had to have the cover be look fearful and how we're going to overcome
Yeah.
it.
Yes, and I would love to have the opportunity to unveil the cover for the next book right here on the podcast.
Yes, please. You'll be the first to show it. Yes, please.
Yeah, let me do that here. So here is, if you're watching the podcast, I'm sharing the cover of book two, Curiosity and Encouragement Overcome Fear. Again, of course, just beautiful, warm, just very engaging. Just this image just makes me want to jump in and hug these two as well.
Yeah, don't you just want to pet them?
So yeah, so this is book two of the Passionate Epic Tales series, the pet series, Curiosity, Encouragement, and Encouragement Overcome Fear. And it sounds like it's coming out very soon. So we have a lot of we have a great story to look forward to, and I can't wait. I can't wait to read this one as well. So yeah, well, thank you so much for sharing that. And um, again, I mean, your journey is it's so inspiring, but at the same time, it's also, I think it's so relatable. And I hope that the listeners and the audience and the viewers are really taking home the understanding that, there are so many dark times that, we can go through. And yet, there are so many reasons to never give up. And it can be so tempting to want to just call it a day, and to give up on your dreams, and to think that the world is against you and that there's no way anything is going to get any better. And, this is the way it is because this is the way it's always been. And, it could be what you see, in your surroundings. Perhaps you're in an environment where that type of talk is common, and there's a lot of dream killers out there that you're surrounded by. But I hope Stephen's inspirational story is not inspirational from a distance, but very relatable because I hope everyone can see, the darkness that anyone is going through. Just hang on. There is light on the other side. And this book, the first book, which is out now, um, get the book. First of all, get the book and read it over and over again because there's so much magic in that book. And I'm so grateful that Stephen, wrote this, and Stephen did not give up. And can you imagine, all of the things that we're discussing today may not have happened. And I'm just very thankful that, Stephen persevered and pushed through and made these connections. And now he's got this beautiful gift for all of us. And I sure hope everyone takes advantage of it. It's truly is a gift. Um, so Stephen, thank you so much. And where can people find your book that is out now, Curiosity and Encouragement Change the World?
So it's on Amazon.
Okay,
Um, I it's available in ebook, softcover, and hardcover.
great.
I know the hardcover is a little bit more expensive, but if you have kids, the hardcover is well worth it because it is very durable
Yes.
and very looks very nice on the shelf.
Yeah.
Um, the ebook, I'm actually going for best published, or I'm going for the ranking in bestseller at the moment. So if you have $1.99 to spare on an ebook, that would be huge for me. If I can get that bestseller status up sometime this week, then I can now post on my social media that I'm a bestseller for the first book. Um, but yeah, it's on Amazon. And I just want to say, Curtis, thank you. And to any of your listeners out there, if you're going through a hard time, if you're going through darkness, if you're going through something, then you feel like you cannot get through it, just be a spark. You don't need to be a flame, just be a spark. That spark is so much more powerful than you will ever know. And there's always light at the end of the tunnel. Even when you don't think you can get through that darkness, just be the spark and you can do it.
I think that is a beautiful insight. I completely agree. I hope everyone takes that to heart. Uh, and yeah, um, I anything else that I mean we could, of course, there's so many other things. I hope we have the opportunity to do this again and to talk about your next book. I would love
Love
to
to.
have that opportunity if that would be great, if that would be okay with you. This has been such a wonderful time that we've spent. I really have enjoyed just all the gems that have come out of this, and thank you so much for taking the time. So everyone knows where to find your book. Is there anywhere else that you would like people to follow you or to go to kind of make sure they don't miss the next best thing that you're involved in at this time?
Yeah, so the best way to find out about what's coming up with me is to follow me on social media. If you go to my website, I don't know if I can post a link up for my website for your followers, but if you
I can
just
definitely put it in the summary as well. Yeah.
awesome, yeah, just go to my website. It's my author's page, and all of my social media accounts are listed on the bottom. Sign up for the newsletter because I'm going to do something special for the second book. Um, I think I'm going to give 5 lucky people autographed copies of the second book, and anybody who wants to come out to Colorado, if you're in Colorado, I'm going to be doing a book reveal party, and we're just going to celebrate, and but then we're going to keep moving forward and do book 3. Um, but yeah, reach out to me. I am always available. Um, if you want to know more or you want to talk or anything like that, if you ever need somebody to listen, I'm there for you. And Curtis, this has been so much fun. I hope we can do this again.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. This has been a treat. Thank you so much, Stephen. And yeah, I cannot wait to see the next book, and I cannot wait to see all of the other great creations that are going to come out of you and your collaboration with Soul Sunshine as well. So thanks again for being on the show. It's been an honor having you today, Stephen.
You're welcome, Curtis. Thank you.